Hey everyone, my name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. If you like making money, subscribe to the channel. I talk a lot about undervalued sectors, opportunities that are really low in relationship to history, very large asymmetric bets. Asymmetric bet just means you can make a lot more money than you can lose. So maybe you can make 10, 20, 30 times your money versus losing. Obviously, you could obviously lose 100%, but putting up, risking 100% of your money versus a 10 or 20 times is a pretty big asymmetric bet. If that interests you, subscribe to the channel, please. I'm going to go over something for new investors. A question was asked, what do I use for market indicators, technical indicators? What do I use to cost average into these positions? What do I look for when I purchase into companies? So I'm just going to do a quick rundown. A lot of this stuff is already things that I went over before. So I'll just do it real quick. So just looking at this, I look at the real estate cycle. We are in an expansionary phase. This expansion phase right here is a phase where it's going to be inflationary. And inflation is good for commodities and precious metals. So the next step I do, when I figure out that you're in an expansion phase, and you can see it also in the housing starts here, that we're going into an expansion phase. Anything above about 1.4, 1.5, 1,500 right here. Anything above that, you're in an expansionary phase. And we're just entering an expansionary phase here because we're underbuilt. So then I look at the ratios next. The ratio is telling us with respect to commodities in relationship to the S&P 500 ratio, that commodities are the spot to buy. This is where you want to buy. I then look at ratios of the actual sector that I'm interested in. I just got uranium here. It's off the chart on the cheap end. Uranium is cheap relative to gold. So when you have this alignment where you've got the real estate cycle in an expansion phase, you've got the housing start showing you going into an expansion phase, you've got commodities cheap in relationship to stocks, and you have uranium cheap to gold, which means uranium is the spot to be. I then look at the market balance. The market balance is going into a deficit looking forward. In my opinion, uranium is the best opportunity that I know of at this time, based off of all of those things I just talked about above. And these are what I look at. I go into the charts and I looked at the technical analysis to see what I want to buy in uranium. Encore Energy, which is a great company. Bill Sheriff's the CEO. I like him very much. I'm looking at this company. This thing has come off the bottom quite substantially. It is a very good company. I own quite a bit of shares in it. I'm just holding on. But I would look for, this is one technical chart pattern here. This has come up off the bottom quite a bit. It's still probably a very good buy because the uranium ratio, the sector relationship to gold is just absolutely, this guy here is absolutely off the charts cheap. I mean, cheap. I can jump in here. So it's cheap as heck. I mean, this thing's way up here in no man's land. So this is, it doesn't even matter what you buy and where you buy it. This whole sector, money's going to flow in here like a river. And when I look at some of these charts, like here's one, blue sky uranium. Look at this thing. The momentum's coming down and the momentum is flattening out. We've got higher lows stepping into this downtrend line and it just broke out. This thing's got my interest hugely. So I'm not looking at the relative strength indicator. I'm not looking at MACDs. I'm not looking at any of that. I call it all garbage. It's all garbage. What I'm looking at is the big picture move. When I look at blue sky uranium, I'm looking at it going, someone's buying the heck out of this. So, I mean, look at the money flow. Look at the volume at the bottom here. Look at this down here. You see that volume right down here? That's called ridiculous. I mean, that is a lot of money flowing into this. That is a bottom. And if you've seen this before, you kind of know what bottoms look like. Then you start to look at strength. Is it making higher lows? Yes, it is. If you look at that chart, it's making higher lows, higher low, higher low. We are breaking out of this downtrend pattern. The momentum, if you look at it, See how this thing's flattening out? How it's going just flatlining? This thing's going to turn and go up. And I think it's going to be very powerful. So blue sky uranium is one that I'm interested in based off of the technical chart. So I've been cost averaging into blue sky uranium. That's one of the companies I've been going into. Now, another one here, Pure Point Uranium Group, which is an exploration company. If you look, this momentum is also flattening out. See that? It's flat. Then you have a downtrend break right here. The price broke out of its downtrend, and it's creating a new uptrend. This is exactly what I look for. Because one, your lowest risk would have been buying in 2019, 2020, 2021, and even right now, this is probably the lowest risk spot to be purchasing something. Because one, we're very low. Two, we just broke a downtrend. We're entering, which could be a new uptrend. So I think it looks absolutely fantastic. That's what I think. And what do? I cost average in. When these big chart patterns break, I just continue to pile into it. That's all I do. I just use basic charting like this to cost average in when all of the above conditions are met. There's no fancy technical indicators or anything like that I'm using. And again, this is what I've learned over my years. The most important thing about making money is doing nothing. It's literally doing nothing. You have to let this stuff work. This right here, take it off real quick. This right here, this right here. When it breaks this right here, and you go and you buy this right in here, you just hang on. Because this is going to do, it may take as long on this side to go back up. It may take some years. And I'll be honest, like, you got to literally do nothing. Do nothing. I mean, this is, don't trade in and out. Don't try to time anything. Don't do any technical analysis. Don't do any of the things that makes it feel like you're doing something. No. Doing nothing is what makes you money. Do nothing. Like literally, don't touch it. If you got your portfolio and your strategy, if you set that up, my strategy, since I'm sure you guys are interested, I'm trying to get about, I'm going to say of my speculative money, I'm going 50% of my speculative money, which is about 30% of my entire net worth, 33%, something like that. Maybe it's more, it's probably 40% now, just because it's gone up so much. I'm trying to get about half of that into these very speculative companies. So I'm taking 20% of my entire net worth going into these companies and just blowing it out everywhere. I have a very large stake in physical precious metals and real estate. That's my other 60%-ish, somewhere in there. If you wanted to know. When these things, the momentum's starting to come down and starts to move up, I get like Pure Point Uranium, Blue Sky Uranium, some of these other ones like Sky Harbor, Standard Uranium's still low. I'm piling in. I'm buying this stuff and cost averaging in for the big move. And the reason I'm doing that is that ratio and the deficit. The ratio is so cheap, it's an anomaly in history. It is, just ball it up, throw it into the ground, throw that into the ground, then throw that into the ground. This is a huge opportunity. And it is a green energy. It supports that. And it's a high energy dense material. This is going to be a huge win. So I am trying to make as much money as I can and continue to cost average into this sector. I'm already in it, and I'm just going to sit in it for probably many years, maybe even 10 or 20 years. Depends on the market balance and the ratios. It may take a while for this all to materialize. And another thing I want to touch on, some people were, I'm going to shrink myself up again. This is what matters. Market cap, not share price if you want very large returns. The share price means absolutely nothing. What a market cap is, it's the share price times your outstanding shares equals your market cap. Your market cap is the thing that's going to go up at whatever multiple. So if you're going to have a 10 bagger, your market cap goes up 10 times. If you have a 10 million market cap, it's much easier to hit 100 million than a 100 million market cap going to 1 billion, or a 1 billion going to 100 billion. So the size of it, the company, is the market cap, and the share price is completely irrelevant. It's your outstanding shares times your share price to get your market cap. Smaller market caps have more potential given it's a good company. I mean, obviously, you don't want to go into a small company just because it's small. You want it to still be good. You can see some ridiculous returns with some of these exploration companies. You can also go absolutely nowhere with them. If you have a company that has something in the ground that they are going to develop a mine, let's say, that might be a good one to look into that also has exploration opportunities. They're doing both. Something like a Deep Yellow, a Goviax Uranium. Those two I think are pretty good. They're proving up reserves and they're developing mines. So that's good. That's what I look for. I would only sell when the real estate tops out and the ratio gives us sell signals along with market deficits turning into surpluses. That's probably when I'm going to sell. It's when all those things align and say, hey, look, we're overpriced. We've got our inflation wind has died down and everything's starting to turn. So selling is going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. No one said this is going to be easy. So selling could be tough to time all this out, but I think we're a good ways away. Some of these are just breaking downtrends. I mean, just breaking them. So we're going to see, I think, massive moves to the upside. That's what I look for. I don't do anything else. I don't look at technical indicators. I don't go off of anyone else. I don't care about the short-term gyrations. I don't even care what the actual uranium price does in the short term. Doesn't matter. I'm just looking at the stock saying it looks like it's got momentum. It's shifting. Things are turning from the bottom. I'm in. Whatever happens in the short term, it happens, and I'll continue to cost average in. And if we get a sharp sell-off, I'll continue to buy. That just means better buying opportunities. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm an investor, not a trader. So if this content, you like this content, give me a thumbs up. If you guys need any help with anything else, put it in the comment section, please. Put those questions. Love to answer them. Like to hear feedback from you guys. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.